Well, Kaspa is equivalent to $21 Ethereum right now, today, at Kaspa at 10 cents, and is breaking out, is equivalent to $21 Ethereum 8 years ago. Now look at the charts. It's not just the price and the market cap, but the charts share a very similar story, okay? So we look at Kaspa's chart right now. It went to basically its first macro bear cycle for Kaspa, okay? On the weekly chart. Look at Ethereum. It experienced something very similar. This was 8 years ago, okay? Yes, this was a little before it was $21, but it was around the similar time frame, similar type of market cap for Ethereum, 2016, 2017. So Ethereum's chart right here. Again, look at this macro downtrend, okay? Big, huge, essentially almost its first bear market for Ethereum, like a big bear cycle. Similar to what Kaspa just experienced. Now, you won't believe where Ethereum went after. Well, you would believe because you see it for yourself today. So let's just take a little peek, okay? So it hit this macro weekly Bollinger, okay? This is essentially the macro moving average. Similar to Kaspa right now, it hits this macro moving average, and it's technically a downtrend for both Ethereum and Kaspa at this price and at that time. Let's just take a peek what happens for Ethereum, okay? It's down, it consolidates at this mid Bollinger, this mid macro moving average, and then it breaks up. It breaks out toward its peak. Okay, this type of macro peak, it's very similar. I mean, it's crazy, the setup. It's earlier in the early days of Kaspa was following the fractal of Ethereum very similarly as well. So I'm not surprised to see this play out. I compared it to Bitcoin when Bitcoin was worth like $70. Kaspa at this level is just insane. So when you look at things and you try to compare, you're going to see similarities in, Ethereum was the top of its game, was top technology at that, smart contract, the programmable crypto, the first of its kind. Now, Kaspa is also the first of its kind. Absolute first. I mean, the first Trilemma solution. It doesn't stop there. It's the first to be able to implement based rollups, truly decentralized oracles, because of how the block DAG is set up to allow parallel blocks. These parallel blocks are going to be competing simultaneously instead of having a single leader. Instead of having a single miner as a leader, you're going to have multiple miners as the leaders, as the winners of these blocks. So it's going to allow oracles to be able to be so much actually decentralized. I mean, I could go on and on about, those videos for other day. But right now with Ethereum, so it tests. Oh my gosh, you see that? Ethereum retests the all-time high. That ceiling, the top Bollinger Band. And we're gonna absolutely see that for Kaspa as well. You could see it more clearly with the monthly time frame. It's still in a macro uptrend. Absolutely going to test that. And I'm going to look at Ethereum as well, especially Ethereum's price today, to show where I think, not just Kaspa, but the whole crypto market is headed. But we look at that, it's going to retest the highs, absolutely, and it's not going to stop there. It's going to blow people's mind. Kaspa will blow your mind. It's going to, well, what's the phrase? Melt faces? Yeah, it's going to melt faces. So we're going to retest here. And in similar scenario, similar setup of what Kaspa did when it was at 5 cents, it retested it basically three times. And the fourth time, it was the final, final event where it absolutely surged through the ceiling. Similar scenario is going to happen here. So it's going to have to retest up here. And once it retests, it's going to be the final surge. It's going to also very likely align with a surge in Bitcoin, a surge in, the alt season. And look at this. I mean, it's just unbelievable where, Ethereum goes from here. It's literally, you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. And this type of run as well, when Bitcoin was worth $70, it went a 20 times X from the price where Kaspa is right now. Ethereum, let's see. Let's see how high it goes from this price. Oh my gosh. So there it is. There's the run. You can't even make out the $21 Ethereum or the $10 Ethereum. So Kaspa is equivalent to $21 Ethereum. So that's about just at about where it starts its big macro push, or about its its peak at the last essentially be the peak over here for Kaspa. So the chart is extremely comparable. The market cap is extremely comparable. I mean, market cap is Kaspa's twice as more value than Ethereum at this time when it was experiencing a similar trend with its chart. But with the crypto market cap is significantly higher it is today than it was back then. I mean, that's something definitely that can account for that, very reasonably. So this type of run for Ethereum. Now let's see the actual numbers here. Dang, bro. Dang. So in about 400 days, it went from where Kaspa is right now to an absolute all-time high. Okay? Of about, and that type of gains, 8,000% gain. Oh my gosh. Basically in 80 times the price in about a year. 80 times the price. You can't make that stuff up. So this type of run took Bitcoin 20 times the price. Similarly, and that was 12 years ago. Now for Ethereum, 8 years ago, it sent it 80 times the price. Dang, that's all I gotta say about that. In about a year. So this coming year for Kaspa, oh my gosh, you just have to keep in perspective that Kaspa is the solution for crypto. Okay, not even Ethereum was the solution. Not even Ethereum, not even Bitcoin was the solution. Kaspa is the final solution. Nothing beats Kaspa. Nothing will ever beat Kaspa. It's quite literally impossible to be faster than the speed of internet right now. So it was Kaspa has been at 1 block per second, traveling at those speeds. Now it's running at 100 millisecond per block. 100 millisecond. 0.1 second. Oh my gosh, man. So once this is right now. This is still with GhostDAG. Once DAG-Knight GhostDAG it puts it as the fastest coin in the world, the fastest, most secure and decentralized coin in the world. Currency, settlement layer, layer 1. Once DAG-Knight implements, it's just there's nothing that can possibly outdo that. Nothing can possibly outdo DAG-Knight once that gets implemented. So it's like you're investing now into something that is the best right now and is the best that will ever come. An 80x, a 20x from its price level right here. It's not going to stop there, and we see that with Ethereum. It doesn't stop at 1,000. It hit up, was down for a while, but then it saw an absolutely, again, another massive run up to essentially just about 5,000. So you already know Kaspa's going to flip Ethereum. I mean, flip it or not, it's going to absolutely rival Ethereum. Ethereum's proof of stake. It can't even compete with Kaspa scalability, and it will never be able to compete with Kaspa scalability. Ethereum will never be able to integrate this proof of work protocol, DAG-Knight, GhostDAG. It will never be able to as a proof of stake. It will never be able to have the speed of internet. That's something that only Kaspa can do. Only something proof of work can do by implementing this block DAG structure. So Ethereum, they can fight all they want. And it's a similar scenario with Kaspa versus Litecoin. If Litecoin could fight all they want, but it's a pretty inevitable, where it's headed. This is essentially two cycles, okay? 2 bull cycles. 1 bull cycle, 2 bull cycles. Oh my gosh. Basically 100,000% gain. How much is that? 100,000. Is that? That's crazy that Ethereum went 1,000 times the price from this similar setup of the low of this similar setup for Kaspa, back 8 years ago in 2017, 2016. So Kaspa here, 1,000 times the price of, let's say, 5 cents, puts it to 50 cents, and then that's times 10. You got $5. 50 hecking dollars. Get out of here, So it's not exactly, to the spot. So I'm comparing here Ethereum when it was worth $6. So that's about 4 3.5 times less the market cap of Kaspa right here. Basically, you get 1,000 divided by 4, something like that. You're gonna be left with 250. So still going 250 times the price in basically 5 years. 1,813. It's very, very close to 5 years. So this in 5 years, we divide that by 4, 250 times. That's still some crazy price action. So Kaspa at its low here, which is similar to Ethereum at its low of that similar setup of its first macro bear cycle, that's where we saw the gains come from. We're starting at around $5 for that. So we're starting around 5-6 cents for Kaspa times 250. Whew, what does that come out to? Let's pull out a calculator. That's right. It puts Kaspa to over $13, 13.75. That's 250 times the price, similar to Ethereum's run. Okay, this type of run for Ethereum, more similarly comparing the market caps. So here, Ethereum is 4 times smaller market cap than Kaspa. So we can see the gains here, divided by 4. And that's 250 times for the second bull cycle, 250. So that puts Kaspa at $13.75 in 2 bull cycles. Very reasonable. A lot of people thinking, oh, it's going to peak at $5, maybe $10 this coming bull cycle. It absolutely could. It could peak at, 3, 5, 10, whatever type of dollars. But we're seeing double digits. We're seeing over $10 in 2 cycles from now for Kaspa. Very likely, very possible scenario. And I think it's very reasonable. I think most people would agree that not this coming bull cycle, but in the next bull cycle after this coming one, we're going to see Kaspa in double digits. Now that's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. So this type of cycle here, it could absolutely put Kaspa 20 times to 80 times the price. What does that look like? So 20 times the price puts Kaspa at about $1, okay? Now 80 times the price, the 20 times is what Bitcoin did. Now 80 times is what Ethereum did. And that puts Kaspa at around $4.50, okay? This is a very reasonable range. And this is basically the range a lot of people have been predicting. People are thinking between $1 to $5. Very reasonable price range for this coming bull cycle. Yeah, peaks, if people are thinking it could reach up to 7, up to 10, that's probably maximum. Yeah, it's all fair game. All fair game. And we're going to have to see if even Kaspa follows this traditional type of cycles. Judging by its current price action, it's following a very predictable in a sense, where it experienced a massive bull run and then this massive correction, just like Bitcoin did in its early days and just like Ethereum did in its early days. The first macro bear market cycle for the coin. That's what happened here. And then following it, this is where institutions bloat up. They load up and they make this type of movement happen. They make it possible. Imagine MEXC starts just they flip the switch on their market maker, and instead of all this manipulated sell pressure, it just goes insane. I'm not saying MEXC is the one running the market maker and manipulating. I'm not saying that. It's it's a joke. But someone is suppressing the price. That's for sure. And someone is also loading up like insane. And we can see this type of loading up by these massive whales on chain. We check out during this whole sell period, what are the addresses that loaded up? The 100 million plus Kaspa addresses absolutely loaded up. They increased in number during this whole period of time. And, something like the 100K Kaspa range, the 100, this is like the Dolphin, they were loading up as well. So you have your average Joe, loading up, trying to get that 100K Kaspa, very great number to reach. And then you see the massive behemoths also loading up. And who's selling? Well, you got the sharks selling. 1 million plus. These are the people that are selling. I mean, they have a whole ton. It's pretty reasonable. So that's basically how we see this sell-off event. What could have caused it? KRC20 was probably, it's just a flippening of an exchange of money. People, projects suddenly have all this money, and it definitely introduces sell pressure, as well as with miners during that entire period, experiencing much higher mining rewards than normal. So that can throw off the whole, even like the power law. So the power law is still following to 89% to 90% accuracy. Do I think it's holding? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the power law is still valid for Kaspa. Kaspa is still following the trend, like still to an 89%, 90% accuracy. This is the growing pains that we see for not just Kaspa at this early stage, but Ethereum at this early stage as well, early in its lifespan, when it was worth a similar market cap, very similar. This is back in the day when the market cap of crypto was smaller. So Bitcoin experienced this similar growing pain. Kaspa experienced it. Does it mean the power law is, it's no more? No, and absolutely not. This is just typical exchange of money, is how money is moving from one to another. You see the sharks are selling and the dolphins are buying, and you see the behemoths, the 100 million plus, they are loading up, and that's why we're going to see this type of massive growth. It's going to be like, Coinbase, for example. They're going to be wanting to see this type of growth. They're going to be, flipping a switch on their little market maker to, there's not going to be anyone selling. Like, the people that sell, it's going to be eaten up by institutions that are going to continue to try to load up on the solution of crypto, on the Trilemma solution, the solver of the Trilemma, the one, the fix for Ethereum, the fix for Bitcoin, the fix of Solana is just trash. There's nothing fixing that. So, oh my gosh, like, you guys really have to understand how early we are and where Kaspa is headed. Because once you know that, then you're very comfortable in the position that you're holding within Kaspa. Whether it's the KNS domains, NFTs, meme coins, or DEX, layer 2 token, whatever it is, you invest in Kaspa and you're going to see massive growth. Kaspa is the underlying asset. Anything else within it is a way to leverage your holdings to maximize exposure to Kaspa. My favorite way to maximize my exposure is with the meme coins. Quite simply, it's the meme coins. Why? Well, I look at what happened with Ethereum, what happened with Solana, what happens with the top blockchains, what performs the best. You got Ethereum. What's the best, the biggest asset on Ethereum? It's Shiba Inu. Like, you look across crypto too. What's the biggest asset? You got Bitcoin, and then you got the largest meme coin on the crypto is Dogecoin. And it's like worth what? Like billions and billions. It hit up to what? Like 20. Let's just take a quick look. Dogecoin worth 27 billion, the 8th largest crypto. It's a meme coin. Okay, yeah, they have their own blockchain, but come on, blockchain stinks. Like, it's not scalable. It's nothing like that. Then we look at Shiba Inu. Okay, a meme coin, the first on Ethereum, the largest on Ethereum. Oh my gosh, I just did a scam. I just did a scam coin. What the heck, man? All right, Shiba Inu, here we go. Worth 8 billion. Okay, and it's down a ton. Like, 16th largest crypto. It's the largest on Ethereum. What's the largest on Solana? Like, you look at, it's Bonk. Bonk's the largest on Solana. So here's Bonk, worth 1.5 billion. Like, dang, bruh. Arbitrum is also, it's a layer 2 on Ethereum, worth very similar to Bonk. And Bonk is on Solana. This is a layer 2 on Ethereum. You see, this is what I mentioned before. Layer 2 tokens on the native blockchain, they don't perform as well as the top meme coin assets. Why? There's could be a lot of various reasons. The layer 2s have to compete with other layer 2s. Layer 2s, even with Kaspa in it of itself, like, layer 2s are just like layer 2 tokens. I'm going to go into another video what I think about layer 2 tokens, and just the end goal, just like a layer 1.5 on Kaspa. While layer 2s, I mean, they certainly could still work very well on Kaspa, especially with how based rollups are going to be implemented. So I'll make another video on that. But yeah, Arbitrum is a layer 2 on Ethereum. So let's go up a little bit. We see our good old Kaspa. Pepe, Pepe is the second largest on Ethereum, and just look at its market cap. You see Shiba Inu, the largest on Ethereum, the first launched on Ethereum as well. So it's just the meme coins. It's just like, both, you got Shiba Inu and Pepe are above Uniswap. I mean, that says a lot right there. Like, so everyone, and again, I prefer these meme coins more than a DEX. You know, Uniswap is very unique. They're the one powering this whole technology. They're the one researching. They're the one implementing it. They're the one, developing. A lot of people fork from it. Just like PancakeSwap forked from it. Just like what do you call it? Zealous Swap, forked from it. So it's not unique and crazy to fork from Uniswap. Even Uniswap itself, the meme coins do better than the DEX. That's just how crypto is. The meme coins are the derivative. They're the way to, like, on crashes, on bear markets, the meme coins fall harder. When a crypto's in an upswing, when it's a bull cycle, meme coins perform the best. Even down here, down at this low, or relative pretty much a low, meme coins are high. Like, you just see where they're valued, and the top ones maintain the value. That's why I'm most interested in the top ones, because I could comfortably hold them long term. Nacho, Kango, hold them long term, and I'm fine. I'm chilling. So that's what's up with that. Like, pretty crazy stuff. Take a look at Kango as well. Like, it's breaking out. It's an absolute breakout. Like, I real like, salute to the Jeet who sold their bag here, and I was seeing it on chain. Like, then they ran out of supply to sell, and it was a low Bollinger. It was just a perfect setup, perfect entryway. If anyone was able to enter at this 11 mark. Now it's at 25, more than doubled. So it's just powering through. This is perfect setup. And just as I've been saying, time and time again, it's just like it creates this floor. And the longer you have this floor, the more bullish it becomes. The breakout is going to be astronomical. And certainly Kaspa is going to see extremely great gains going forward. And the meme coins are going to see that leveraged gain, is going to see, Kaspa's up, whatever. Kaspa goes up, and it's going to need to rise. It's going to need to stabilize. And then we're going to see the meme coin season essentially start. Man, Kaspa's up like 5%. You see the meme coin's going to be up like 20%, stuff like that. It's just so much easier to move the money of a meme coin to smaller market caps. And that's why meme coins exist in crypto. They're the derivative. They're the way to, it's like the leverage play. And that's how they're traded. It's not anything new, and they're the largest asset of a blockchain. People are like, oh, meme coins this, meme coins that is junk, and all, like fart coin. It's like, I mean, that's an absolute crazy Trump coin. Man, this stuff's nasty. But you stay with the stuff that's like, the first launch thing. It's Nacho. The crazy, absolute insane marketing, the animations from Kango, they're easily the most unique animations things I've ever seen in crypto. I mean, let alone it's on Kaspa. So you got these top two ones. I'll go into other ones. A lot of people, they like Kaspa, they like Gold, and that's awesome. Like, the communities are organic, and they're growing organically. They have a team and community that works hard. It's destined to succeed. You just got to hold long term, and you're going to see it with the, reaching 500 million, a billion market cap, multi-billion market caps. When Kaspa can finally rival Ethereum, give it time. It needs time. The technology absolutely blows away Ethereum. It absolutely blows away Bitcoin. It absolutely, it doesn't even, XRP is nowhere on the same, XRP doesn't even deserve to be a crypto, going to be honest. BNB as well. These are jokes. Anything below here is a joke. You got the stables, but Chainlink, even Chainlink, like, it's a great crypto, but it's an oracle that is not decentralized. Get Chainlink on Kaspa, or get something on Kaspa that works like Chainlink, but using the decentralized oracle, the power of the block DAG, parallel blocks, being able to compete and have what should I call it? A multi-leader consensus. That's what's going to be able to create an oracle unlike any other. These multiple miners being able to, you aggregate the information from multiple entities at the same exact time, you're going to be able to create the most decentralized oracle system in existence. So Chainlink is going to get, it's either going to have to integrate or get left behind. Incredible applications are going to either be migrating over to Kaspa or going to be built on Kaspa to compete with existing traditional technology. And those are going to be also incredible investment opportunities. So yeah, I mean, but like I said, my money is with the meme coins. It's the top asset of every blockchain, and it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's like you sit on it and you just sit on it and you just wait, and then once the spike comes, that's when you can much more comfortably be like, all right, I'm gonna take some profit. You know, just a casual what like 100x spike. Like, oh my god, it's the spikes though. Those are the things that gotta look out for. And yeah, there's a lot of different factors that can help you understand what could be like a peak for meme coin, for an altcoin, for Kaspa, for the coin Kaspa. A lot of different factors to keep in mind. Even looking at balance addresses, a lot of interesting things. So that's what's up. Yeah, I have a lot more videos to cover, but I just wanted to, you know, go into this to how comparable Kaspa is to Ethereum in its early days. And those early, those there was like some fractal images of Kaspa comparing to Ethereum. Those images were floating around, especially in the early days. And even Kaspa right now, like, dang man, you look at this. It's just when it starts in its uptrend, like this uptrend is you don't stop it. You don't stop Kaspa on an uptrend. And you see it time and time again. The uptrend is very strong with Kaspa. Well, yeah, I mean, even when it breaks the uptrend, it drops down to like it's low Bollinger, it's low bandwidth, and then pops right back up. So yeah, the downtrends, could be tough. You got to be patient. Once you see the macro indicators saying, all right, this is it. This is the turnaround point. We saw it extremely clearly with Bitcoin, Kaspa to Bitcoin chart. I mean, you couldn't have predicted it, better with this type of chart setup. You saw the bottom, and now it's blast off. So it's gonna we'll see. We'll have to see. Might have to consolidate here for a time. That's what Ethereum did. It consolidated there for how many weeks? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 6th week, it was basically starting to break out. So that's about 1 month, 1.5 months, something like that. That's how much time we're going to probably need for Kaspa to have a chance for the full-on breakout. But we're going to see. Anything could happen, especially with 10 BPS coming. Like what? Literally in a matter of days. It's a matter of hours. Not even. I'm more comfortable saying that than a few days. Kaspa becomes the fastest, most secure and decentralized coin in the world, and nothing's going to stop this breakout. This is going to be an incredible cycle for Kaspa, and especially with the dollar. I got to make cover this more in another video. But the way the whole dollar and the Feds are set up right now, they're going to end up printing money. Like whatever happens, they're going to be printing money. They're stuck. Their backs against the wall, and they're going to be printing money, and that's going to power crypto even more. So you already know. Peace.